Alrighty, let's get started. Well, good morning everybody, or good afternoon if you're on the East Coast or elsewhere in the world. Thank you for joining the ongoing series of webinars we do here at SOS Online Backup. My name's Ken Shaw, I'm the CEO of SOS. And today's webinar is actually an exciting webinar. Today we're going to be previewing a brand new platform that we're rolling out here at SOS, which has been much requested by many of our partners, and it's exciting technology, our new Pulse management framework for MSPs and for VARs. But in general, the format of today's webinar will be that we'll do a brief company overview. We'll then look at the traditional backup and disaster recovery technology landscape, move on to then look at how online backup solves many of the problems that have plagued traditional hardware-based backup solutions. And then we'll look at the SOS partner model and how you can get involved in this new exciting online backup industry that is booming. The presentation will go for roughly 30 minutes, and then we'll do a Q&A. We've got a hard stop at 11:50. Now, in terms of just a few housekeeping items, the best way to get information out of these webinars is to participate and try and make them as interactive as possible. So please ask questions. Please feel free to start asking questions right away. And the more questions you ask, the more tailored the presentation will be to what you want to hear about. So you can use the questions feature within GoToWebinar, which some of you have already used for the sound check, to ask your questions or to list topics that you would like addressed. And then we'll try and vary the content as much as possible to match your requests for topics. The other thing is, of course, that we've got our Kindle giveaway, and to find out how to go into the draw for that Kindle, stick around to the end of the webinar, and we'll give you those details. Without further ado, I think we'll get underway. So who is SOS? We're a company that's been around for quite some time now, founded in 2001, originally in Australia. We're now a global firm with operations in the United States, which is now our headquarters, Asia, Australia still, of course, and in Europe. We're a company that was formed exclusively to focus on the online backup market, and we've always focused on being the technology leader of the online backup space, and I think we've done a pretty good job of achieving that. We've been PC Magazine Editor's Choice for online backup every year since 2006, for example. But one of the things that really sets us apart is that we're the only provider of online backup as a platform. We're a platform as a service company. The platform we deliver is a platform tailored for IT resellers and managed service providers, allowing you to leapfrog into the online backup market with your own fully white-labeled and reskinned product built on our technology. In terms of who we are and how established we are, we're by no means a startup anymore. We've been around nearly a decade, more than 200 employees worldwide, and more than 3 million customers on our system, with nearly 10 million PCs being backed up by our technology. And all of that growth and size gives you a lot of stability, but it's also exciting because with 80% of SOS's revenue coming from our partners, what it means is that our partners have been super successful. The fact that we've grown 300% in the last 12 months is an indication of how successful our partners are at selling online backup. And that's really what this is about. It's about how can you get into the online backup market. So picking on some audience members, how can Caden Poundwall and Todd Quallis and Jason Murrow get into the online backup market quickly, effectively, efficiently, and start driving recurring revenue from selling online backup services. So just positioning us in the markets to get a sense of where we focus. We're squarely in the mid-market. We focus on small businesses in particular. We've got consumer offerings for home users, so if some of your customers are in the home user horizontal, then we've certainly got a very attractive home user product. We've also got enterprise solutions, so if you've got enterprise customers, then we've got a solution that fits your needs. But our real powerhouse is serving small businesses and working with the VARs and MSPs and IT resellers who serve the small business space. And this slide here really captures visually what it is that we do here at SOS. We take all of our technology, both in the cloud and on the desktop, as depicted on the left-hand side of the screen. We then run that through all of your marketing positioning and your logos and your collaterals and the way you go to market. We then slice and dice our various offerings and package them up to match your business model to then help you drive incremental, high-margin, recurring revenue. And that's one of the beauties of software as a service, is the predictability of the ongoing recurring revenue stream that you can build for your business. And here's just a few examples of white label technology and marketing collateral. We'll see some more of this later in the presentation. All right, so let's turn and look at the traditional backup landscape. I assume that most of the audience is already selling some sort of backup technology to their customers, and it varies by the customer segment you're serving. If you're primarily serving the consumer business, then there really isn't a standard embedded in the consumer market for backup. Where consumers do backup, they're often using a bit of a hack job built around some software or some hardware, often USB hard disk drives, but it's very rarely is it reliable, secure, or off-site. Moving into the small business space, off-site backup's much more common, usually based around tape architecture. But in the last, say, 5 years, disk-based backup has really become a prevalent technology in the SMB space as well. So often there's still not an off-site solution, and usually not a secure solution, but it's usually a hardware-software play. So it might be a tape or disk array and being backed up with software from someone like Legato or Dance Retrospect, Backup Exec, and then being run by internal IT. And we'll talk about some of the problems associated with hardware-based backup, but one of the biggest ones is the labor cost associated with running it. We all know how laborious and time-intensive tape backup can be, rotating tapes, verifying recoverability, et cetera, et cetera. Same applies to disks. Make certain that RAID arrays haven't failed, putting appropriate monitoring in place, replacing disks when they fail. Extremely time-intensive technology. In the enterprise space, similar tripartite architecture of hardware, software, and labor, but then often when analyzing an enterprise deployment, we'll look at the deployment cost as well. So not just the cost to run an enterprise backup solution, but also the cost to implement an enterprise backup solution. So we usually have 4 cost components when you're looking at an enterprise solution. Compare that to online backup, so your online backup brand, all hosted in the cloud. The software, the hardware, the service and support are all there, but they're wrapped up into one simple and easy software as a service solution that you can roll out to your customers. So it's set and forget, simple software agent deployed on all of the devices that need to be backed up, and thereafter everything can be managed and monitored centrally. There's no need to interact with any of the remote devices. There's no need to verify recoverability. There's no concerns about security. A lot of the problems that have plagued backup technology go away. And this slide is really just about the decline in hardware-based backup. So if you're still selling a lot of tape and or disk, the macroeconomic trend is that it's a dying technology. The Santa Clara Group, who tracks tape backup sales in the US, says that tape backups have fallen. Tape backup sales, rather, has fallen from 2.3 billion a couple of years ago to just 1.5 last year. So pretty rapid decline in that market. CTO Edge magazine says that decline is being driven by the fact that more than 70% of CIOs and CTOs intend on moving all or part of their backup to the cloud. So I'll just go back one. In fact, it's this quote here at the bottom that I'd like to draw your attention to. Quote from one of our partners. If we don't sell our customers a cloud-based backup solution, someone else will. So why not us? So the question I want to pose to everybody on the line here today is, well, if you're not going to sell online backup to your customers, somebody else is going to. So why aren't you selling online backup to your customers? And what we here at SOS do is we can get you into the online backup market in a shorter period of time as 48 hours. You could be selling online backup by Monday to your existing customer base, because if you don't, somebody else is going to get that business. And just doing a quick TCO comparison of hardware-based backup versus hardware-based backup versus online backup. This cost analysis actually came from a customer who moved across to our services. And you can see the tape backup solution that they put in place, tape drives, tape cleaning, Backup Exec, SQL Agent, Backup Exec Renewal, all total the first year cost of $6,146 and a 5-year cost of $9,000. Now, note that these are only the hard costs, the hardware and the software. The labor cost hasn't been added into this analysis, and labor can be as much as 100% of the hard costs. So it's possible that over the 5 years, this actually cost the business $18,000, not $9,000. Whereas if you look at online backup, firstly, there is no labor cost because it's set and forget, self-managing. So that component isn't relevant to online backup. But the soft costs aren't in this analysis. Just from a hard cost standpoint, online backup is only 1/6 of the cost at $1,000 for the same amount of data to be backed up. So the customer here is much, much happier. But then I want to look at the perspective from the reseller. Where you sit on the hardware, you make 5 or 6 points of commission on a one-off hardware capital sale, which might be $500. With online backup, you can make that $500 every single year from this customer. So over the 5-year period in question, your revenue for this customer is $2,500. You make 5 times as much revenue as you would selling a tape solution. For the customer's cost in year 1 is only 1/6 of his cost with tape if he uses online backup. So the summary here is, it's better for your customer, it's better for you. And that's really one of the key points that we want to get across when talking about when you're considering moving to online backup. We've got the screen. I think the screen has just, okay, the screen sharing got interrupted there. Apologies. In terms of looking at the deficiencies of tape-based backup, these vectors down the left-hand side of this table are really the ways we look at the difference between hardware-based backup, whether it's disk or tape, and online backup. So with online backup, deployment is simple. No IT staff required, extremely easy. With hardware-based backup, deployment can take a couple of weeks to set up and configure a disk backup array or a tape-based backup array. From a coverage standpoint, hardware backup's always been very problematic. So backing up laptop fleets is impossible. Traditional hardware-based backup solutions just aren't designed to work over the WAN. And so laptops that are moving in and out of the network usually don't get protected. Branch offices, similar problem. Really anywhere there's distributed data, hardware-based backup tends to fail and fall over. Whereas with online backup, if you think about it, every single device is under the backup cloud, no matter where it is. So if it's an iPhone or if it's a BlackBerry or if it's a laptop or a branch office server, it doesn't matter. It's all connected under your online backup cloud. In terms of the media, it has to be dealt with. There is no media with online backup, whereas we all know that the most embarrassing data loss incidents over the last 10 years have been because some system administrator somewhere misplaced a tape that had 10,000 social security numbers on it, for example. There's been a couple of fairly embarrassing incidents over the last 10 years that involve tape-based backup data